Hello and welcome to the Scoop podcast, the women's cricket podcast that goes beyond the scoreboard. I'm Rana Hussein and alongside me is TV's own Molly Strano. Hello, Molly. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Rana. How are you?
I'm good. How was your week in cricket? You were on the tally broadcasting.
I had a great week. Was lucky enough to do a little bit of commentary for Fox Sports. So I got to call the Test match, which was a pretty new experience for me, but absolutely loved it. What a dream job to talk about cricket.
Oh, what a dream to just see you on our screens talking cricket. I have the pleasure of getting to do this every week with you, and I honestly just want to hand over the mic and just listen to you. So I was thrilled to see you on the tally. It has been a big week, and which means we have a big show as well today because Australia have wrapped up the multi-format series against India with the dominant Test win in Perth. And it was also the final international match of Alyssa Healy's career. So today we're unpacking the Test, the series, what Healy's legacy means for this team. Coming up on the show, Mol, we've got cricket.com.au journalist Laura Jolly, the Scoop's very own Laura Jolly, let's be real. She joins us fresh from the WACA. We're also going to talk to Amanda-Jade Wellington, a friend of yours, I assume.
Yeah, I do love Amanda-Jade Wellington. Can't wait to have a chat with her.
Yeah, she's just become the leading wicket-taker. We talked about that last week in WNCL history, so we're going to chat to her as well. And we're also going to go around the grounds, of course, as the WNCL finals race heats up. Plenty to get through, so stay with us after this. Laura Jolly. All right, let's bring in someone who was actually there for it all. Cricket.com.au journalist Laura Jolly joins us after Australia wrapped up the series against India with a 10-wicket Test win in Perth. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
First of all, before we zoom in on the Test, just give us the big picture. Australia finished the multi-format series 12-4 after actually losing the T20 flag. How did they manage to turn things around so convincingly?
Yeah, it was just a really impressive turnaround after what happened in the T20s. And I think a big part of that is just Australia are so good at the one-day format. They haven't lost a one-day series in Australia since 1987, I think, which is longer than anyone in the team's been alive. So I just think once they swap to that format, they're going to be really hard to beat.
Let's talk about the Test itself. Australia wrapped it up inside 3 days with a 10-wicket win. What were the key moments for you that really swung things for Australia?
I think the decision to win the toss and bowl was a really key one. And then being able to get through India, it did put them in a tricky position having to bat under lights that night. They may not have actually thought they would bowl them out that quickly. But it then, worked really well for them on day two, getting the chance to get stuck into India's top order under lights. Even the fact that the tail wagged really nicely for Australia with Alana King and Lucy Hamilton dragging it out so the last wicket fell right before twilight. I think that really played into Australia's hands as well.
What was the atmosphere like? Because you were there. I mean, it looked great on tally. You could feel it all. But what was the vibe like at the stadium?
Yeah, the vibes are really high. I know, looking on TV, the hills looked a bit bare because it was 39 degrees and the WACA can bake a bit during the day, but there were plenty of people up in the members and in the seats, and at night especially, it was going off, particularly when Alyssa Healy was doing anything.
LJ, Molly here. I've been raving about Annabelle Sutherland for the last week, but I want to speak to you about her now. Player of the series, player of the match, another 100 for her. Can you talk to us about her impact in that Test match and her continued love affair with the WACA?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's just, you can lock her in for a ton every time she plays a Test match. I think it's she's the first woman to hit 3 in 3 consecutive games, which is pretty remarkable when you think, a man might hit 3 consecutive Test centuries, and that in itself is impressive, but it would happen in one series, whereas this has happened across 24 months for Annabelle. So to have that kind of reliability in the format is something really rare, given they hardly ever play Tests. And just her endurance too, to bowl 17 overs, the most by any Australian in 40-degree heat, and then back it up and bat with that kind of intense focus during a really tough period under lights on day one, and then score a ton when it's 39 degrees again a day later is just incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? I've got we are called The Scoop, and I do have an inside scoop.
Oh.
Over the first 2 days, she covered 25 kilometres in the field, which is outstanding. And then for the total match duration, she spent 80% of the time on the field, whether that was fielding, ball in hand or batting. So that's a pretty outstanding effort, and considering how hot it was over in Perth as well. So she's such a supreme athlete, and I think her temperament, her skill set is so suited to Test cricket, and every time she pulls on the white, she's just this different beast, isn't she, LJ?
Yeah, we spoke to her after she scored the ton on day 2, and we asked her, what's the secret to your record in Test? And she says, I just love batting. I think that's it. She just gets a chance to go out there and go for as long as she wants.
She loves this format too, and you could see, I feel like Annabelle Sutherland barely cracks a smile, but this entire Test, you could see a smile on her face. She just seemed like she was in her element. Do you feel like we're going to get more Test cricket for this Aussie team?
I really hope so. Imagine if Annabelle Sutherland got to play 10 Tests a year or something. It would be remarkable. But, unfortunately for her, it's going to be 12 months until Australia play their next Test, since the one in the Windies got cancelled. But hopefully we do start to see these multi-formats being played against more and more teams. South Africa's on board now, and hopefully that continues.
I do want to ask you about Alyssa Healy. You were telling us that, we all just loved everything she did, and we talked about it last week. I feel like in her last ODI, we got kind of all the stations of the cross of Alyssa Healy. She gave us everything, a bit of fun, a bit of silliness, and then absolute mastery with the bat. What do you think about this final match for her? We didn't get to see her take the bat a second time. Some of us did want to see it, but she was very clear that it was not about her.
Yeah, she was. I think she maybe got her fairy tale finish in the one-dayers, so she was pretty happy to take a bit of a backseat in this match and start to look to the future. But I think she did lap up the occasion. There was the Healy Hill, and they were handing out Alyssa Healy's face on fans for the people in the stands to use in the heat, and that was all pretty cool.
LJ, when you look back at Alyssa's career overall, what do you think her legacy in Australian cricket is?
I just think she's transformed the game, particularly with her batting. She's just set such an incredibly high standard for what you want from a wicketkeeper batter, in white ball cricket now, that it's just the hole she's leaving is huge for any players coming up the ranks now to try and emulate what she's done. It's going to be really hard. So she's transformed the game as a batter, and then as a leader too. I think she's stepped into this huge hole that was left by Meg Lanning. It's probably one of the hardest things you could do, taking over from someone like Meg, and she's done a really good job of steering Australia through that period.
What do you make of you sense in this series in particular that there is just a changing of the guard like you speak to. We did see it previously, but really this time we're seeing records tumble from Pez, but then we're also seeing Lucy Hamilton get her cap and really shine. What do you think is kind of going on at the moment in Australian women's cricket?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of strange thinking now that Alyssa Healy's gone and Meg Lanning's gone, just these giants of the game, and the team is going to change so much over the next few years. But it is really cool to see someone like Lucy come in, who's 19 years old and just has all the poise in the world, was not at all overawed to be playing international cricket. So you do get the sense the team's in safe hands, but it is going to be a really interesting period for them with a lot of change to come.
LJ, there was so much that happened in the Test match. Obviously, Alyssa's last game, 299 international matches. We had a debutante, Lucy Hamilton, obviously Annabelle Sutherland's on-field performances as well. But the one that I don't want to fly under the radar, but it might have potentially did in all of this hoo-ha was Elise Perry, now becoming the all-time leading Test run scorer for Australia. That's pretty special in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And it kind of goes back to something I said earlier too, that, for a male cricketer, they might score 1,000 Test runs in a year. And people who don't really understand the women's game might hear 1,000 runs and not think that much of that record. But that's been scored over 15 Tests. She's played every Test Australia's played since her debut, and she's only the second Australian woman to get to 1,000 Test runs. So it just shows what her record has been like in this team, particularly when you consider she came in as a fast bowler, not as an all-rounder.
Just on that, LJ, I've been saying this for a long time. I feel like this Australian women's cricket side is totally going under the radar. They have been dominant for so long. They are so successful. They transition leadership so beautifully, as we've already talked about. Why do you think they're just not getting the limelight like I think at least they should?
Yeah, it's a really funny one. I think maybe because they've just been so good basically always.
They're just too good.
It is incredible. Like, they don't get anywhere near the appreciation they should get. It's more like they lose and then they suddenly get the intense media focus on them because they've dropped a match. And maybe that is just the bar they've set for themselves is so high. But it is a shame because they're just, they'll be looked back on as one of the greatest sporting teams in the world ever. And I really hope fans can appreciate that because, you don't know how long it'll last.
I feel like we're just like a two-woman fangirl show, to be honest. So we're doing our bit at the very least.
I'm out of control at the minute, LJ. For 3 days on Fox, I was just like full-time hype girl, and then we have the Scoop podcast where I hype girl for 45 minutes there. I've seriously spiraled out of control.
No, I love it. We want more of it. Let's talk injuries, though. Any updates in that department?
Yeah, it was kind of unbelievable, this series. It felt like every time we turned up to the ground, we were just going to get more bad news. So hopefully we've seen the end of that now. But I did have a chat to the selector, Sean Flegler, the other day, and he said Kim Garth's going to be all good to go for the Caribbean. She was actually pretty close to playing the Test even. It was more just they were worried about her workloads in that intense heat. So she'll be good to go for the Caribbean. Still a few question marks over Sophie Molyneux and her back. She's running, she's batting, but I don't know if she's going to be able to bowl in the Windies. So they still saw it as being really important for her to go on that tour just to get her captaincy bedded in and to, for that side of things. But, I'm not sure what actual role she's going to play on the field over there.
We're really worried that we've mozzed her a little bit because we hyped her up big time on the pod.
I think we all did.
LJ, really exciting. The West Indies squad was announced this morning. Some new names there and really cool for Talia Wilson to get her first Australian call-up.
Yeah, it is. I think it's going to be really cool to see how she goes around the group. It's kind of amazing to think for the first time in 10 years they've actually had to have a think about who's our backup wicketkeeper, just because they've been absolutely blessed to have Beth Mooney in the best 11 for the last decade. So it's cool to see how she goes. And then, Lucy Hamilton getting her call up and sounds like she'll debut in the T20s. So that'll be really cool to see.
Are you going to the Windies, LJ?
Yes, we are. A few more days to go and then we're heading over.
Can you pack us in your suitcase? We are dying to go.
That would be amazing. Love some more people over there.
I feel like that was LJ going, maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe too much.
Look, we could honestly ask you a billion questions all day. Before we let you go, I do want to ask you, though, about T20 World Cup preparations. Do you feel like the selectors are still thinking through the best side here?
Yeah, definitely. And I think part of that that we're seeing is Annabelle Sutherland sitting out this Windies tour, which I think has taken people by surprise. But I think it's a positive thing. She's had a huge workload lately, and so she can get some time at home and freshen up and make sure she's really good to go for the World Cup. It also means there's a spot in the 11 now for someone else to come in and play a bigger role and show what they can do. So someone like Nicola Carey or Lucy Hamilton can get a big run over there and hopefully help them work out some plans. I think definitely the bowling in particular, they probably need to figure out who's going to come in and take those power play wickets, which was something they struggled with against India. And just working out the batting order too, I think, is something that they've got a bit more work to do on.
LJ, the one name that I was a little bit surprised not to see on that list was Grace Harris. Her last competition she played in was the WPL, where she was outstanding, 237 runs at a strike rate of 178. And her form in England's been outstanding as well. She had a really good 100 last year and dominated the T20 Blast. What does this mean for Grace? Is she still in calculations for the World Cup, or what's the future look like for Gracie?
Yeah, I was really surprised by that one too. But I did have a chat to Flex the other day, and he said she's still very much in their thinking for the World Cup. It's more that they kind of know what she can do, so they want to see what other people can do and give other people a chance over in the Caribbean. So I wouldn't put a line through Grace yet, and I really do hope we see her in that World Cup squad because, as you mentioned, her record in England's crazy good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thrilled to hear that from you, actually. That's made me very pleased. LJ, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for everything you do for cricket and women's cricket in particular. I love your voice. I love reading your articles, and it's just such important reporting. So thank you for bringing us all the info today.
Thank you for having me. Hopefully I can come back.
Thanks, LJ. So great to chat with her, all things cricket. But now we are joined by someone who has achieved something pretty special. Amanda-Jade Wellington has become the leading wicket-taker in the history of the WNCL, and she joins us here on the show. Welcome to the show, AJ.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Hey, Wallo, welcome to The Scoop. As Rana mentioned, you've had a huge couple of weeks, all-time leading wicket-taker in the WNCL, and you also notched up 100 games. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's been incredible. Honestly, something that I never thought that I would achieve. I think it hasn't sunk in yet, that the fact that I've played so many games and taken so many wickets and jumped that leaderboard, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind.
I love the idea that you actually haven't thought about your career being this long and this expansive. You seem like such a natural. It seems like you've just found your real niche with a cricket career. When you were little, what did you see for yourself?
I think when I was little, I just thought cricket was going to be my life. It's something I loved and I still love to this day, just playing cricket all around the world and showing off what I can do and creating so many memories.
Well, you speak about playing cricket all over the world, and I know that you love doing that so much. And now you're pretty much playing all the franchise leagues. You've played in the 100, you've played in Canada, you've played in the Windies and also New Zealand and the WBBL. Do you have a favourite franchise tournament?
To be honest, I just like the rogue ones. So, like, for example, going to Canada for like 5 days and play 3 games of cricket, like, that's just bizarre to me. I never thought I'd be in Vancouver playing cricket. I've played in Hong Kong. But yeah, I think it's like the rogue ones that I absolutely love.
And is it that going to those rogue places, do you get your best performance that way? Like, when do we get the best of you?
I think for me personally, it's just being myself around a group and being so comfortable. I think Molly knows how much of a weirdo I am and how much out there I am. So I think when I feel comfortable in a group, people see the real side of me, and that's what I love, to be able to join new teams and be able to feel that comfortable and safe. I guess a safe space, really.
In 167 wickets, there must be some favourites. Have you got any that kind of make the leaderboard for you?
Oh yeah, Molly Rana.
They asked your best wicket, not your easiest wicket, Wallo.
Oh, sorry. Like you said, I think there's just so many that I just can't think of any. But I think the one that, not the particular one, I think the one that sticks out to me is bowling Alyssa Healy 6 for against Tasmania before Molly Rana was there.
If I was there, you would have got 7 for Wallo.
Probably.
So, Wallo, you're only 28 and you're already like knocking off all these records and doing some really cool stuff in the game. What does the next 5 years look like for you in cricket?
Probably my run-up getting shorter and shorter.
Clever.
No, I think just being able to play as much cricket as possible and travel, I guess, the world as more often as I can. I'm in this sort of bubble where I'm playing 6 months in Australia, 6 months in the UK, and I absolutely love it. And then being able to go to different tournaments and play, as much as I can. And I think I'm running out of room on my arm in terms for tattoos, because I got every team I play for. So,
oh wow, they look amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's one of the things that I love the most about following your career is that you've created a different path and shown what's possible for many women's cricketers. What is your advice for a young cricketer listening in terms of how to think about their career and the possibilities?
I think enjoy it, but like most of it, just have an open mind in terms of what the possibilities are in cricket, because it's just ridiculous these days, the amount of opportunities you get. Like I said, I would never thought I would go to Hong Kong, play cricket, go to Vancouver, play cricket, play the West Indies, play CPL. It's ridiculously amazing these days, the opportunities we get. But I think telling the young kid, just enjoy it. As long as you enjoy it, you're going to have such an amazing time.
Not only do you get to play in all these cool places in the world, but you do a great job of documenting it and showing the world what you're up to. Can you talk us, I want to give Secret Life of Wallo a bit of a plug. Can you talk us through what you capture and some of your content, please?
Something I really wanted to create several years ago was a YouTube channel, and something I'm really passionate about is filming a lot of things, and whether it's Pokemon content, cricket content, and a lot of other things. So it's just trying to create a different visual for fans out there in terms of we're actually more than cricketers, we're people. That's what we are first. And, trying to show my, my personality through a lens that other people won't see. So given that sort of insight, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I love it. I know the girls are a little bit annoyed at it sometimes, but I don't really care. It's great content. Content is key.
Content is key. We certainly agree. But speaking of personality, we can see it already on your screen. Your Pokemon's behind you. Take us into this love of yours. You're an absolute passionate person for Pokemon.
Yeah, I absolutely love Pokemon. Ever since I was little, I collected Pokemon. I even had a little Pikachu backpack I used to take to school. I've still got it. I've got photos of it as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I remember Mum giving me on my 18th birthday a box full of sealed toys that she would keep. So she would buy one for me to open and then one to collect for later on, and that's what sort of sparked it again. And yeah, I think for me, my goal is to collect every Pokemon card there is. So I'm almost there, which is great. So
how many offer you now?
So many, but like I'm close, but it's just expensive. Oh my God.
Oh gosh, it's total. I mean, as I'm an older millennial, it's totally gone over my head, everything you just said, but I believe you. I just love that you're passionate about it. You're also passionate about this SA side, still in the hunt for the WNCL final. How's the team feeling heading into the next round?
Yeah, pretty excited. I think to play at Adelaide Oval as well against New South Wales, but we keep talking about we have to beat New South Wales 3 times in a row now. So that's the plan. So fingers crossed it works. But I think there's a buzz around the group in terms of determination to get back into a final.
I've absolutely loved chatting with you. I can't wait to see what SA do. I'm going to start to look into this Pokemon Bizzo because I feel like you're passionate about it.
It's an investment as well.
Okay. Any tips for any entry-level people like me?
Pick a Pokemon that you like and collect those cards, but then later on it'll be addicting. Like literally, I've got Pokemon cards right next to me about to open after this.
I love that the only advice I asked you for was about Pokemon and not, being an elite cricketer. Thank you so much.
That's probably what I know more.
Well, we love watching you, whether it's on The Secret Life at times, I don't know if that's what it was called, of Amanda-Jade Wellington, or if it's on the field. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Scoop podcast.
My pleasure.
So great to have Wello join us. What a delight.
I just love AJW, and it's really nice to hear her speak about being her authentic self and playing for teams and just showing up as a true version of herself. So it's really nice to see her really happy.
I don't know how Canada feels about being called a rogue country, but I'm sure they'll take it from her. All right, it's now time to go around the grounds because the WNCL season is heading for a big finish. New South Wales have already locked in the final and they're undefeated this season. But the race for the second spot is wide open. Queensland, South Australia and Western Australia are all still in the mix. The final round matches are Queensland versus Victoria, Western Australia versus ACT, and South Australia versus New South Wales. Bonus points could end up deciding who makes the final. What do you make of all this, Molly?
Yeah, the last week of WNCL is going to be chaos. Every team's alive minus Victoria and Tas, unfortunately, for me and my Victorian teammates. So, yeah, this week's going to be huge. New South Wales just sort of sitting on their heels and sort of twiddling their thumbs, working out who they're going to play against. But, yeah, it's going to be a hot race for that second position in the final. Yeah,
so teams technically still in the hunt, but for you, it's coming down to who, really?
Well, look, it's the SA New South Wales games are going to be tricky. It's going to be a pretty tough assignment for SA to beat New South Wales twice to get through to the final, you would imagine. The WA, ACT games, they could also pinch wins off each other as well. They've both been in really good form throughout the year. And then Queensland have Victoria twice at home, so they'll back themselves in their home conditions to beat the Vics twice. But, yeah, anything can happen in this last round. It makes it really exciting.
Your Victoria head up to Brisbane to spoil everything for Fire. I mean, I think you're in with the chance. No?
Yeah, we're going up there with Operation Party Pooper. We're trying to ruin the party for Queensland and we're going to give it our shot to do so. But, yeah, they'll be tricky on their home track, and it sounds as though without Grace Harris getting picked in the Windy squad, she'll be available for Queensland. They won't have Lucy Hamilton, though, you would imagine. I think she'll probably rest before she goes to the Windies. So, yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces amongst all the teams, actually.
I really just want, I want to name this episode Operation Party Pooper. And B, I want to see it written big on a whiteboard somewhere. Or a banner. Someone get a banner to Queensland that says Operation Party Pooper. That is the WNCL. So much to watch over the week. That's, of course, live and free on cricket.com.au, the Cricket Australia Live app, and also on KO as well. Especially now that the multi-format series is over, make sure you turn your heads to the WNCL. Moving to international, though, New Zealand versus Zimbabwe. We touched on it last week, 2-0. Last ODI playing out as we speak. Molly, what's the scoop?
Yeah, well, New Zealand have been completely dominant, but there's been some really cool things that have happened. Millie Kerr. I just feel like every time she pretty much steps onto a cricket field at the moment, she's breaking records. But 9.1 overs, 7 for 34, and they are the best ODI figures in white phone history. So that's another cool thing for Millie to tick off. Like, I feel like at the end of her career, she's going to break every record possible for the white ferns, but she keeps going from strength to strength. And yeah, as I said in the last episode, she's going to be, all guns blazing for the World Cup, and that New Zealand team are going to be tricky to beat, I think.
I love women's cricket in New Zealand. I have to say, I kind of get a bit yawny when I think about the men's side. I just went rogue. But the women's side, like people like Millie Kerr, they're so exciting. And I really hope, I don't know why, but I'm very interested in everybody that deserves it getting a statue. So I really hope she gets a statue. Not here, over there, but still. There's just such talent at the moment in women's cricket. It's unbelievable. It's only getting better.
And another person I'd like to shout out to is Leah Tahuhu. She recently announced her ODI retirement. It spanned over a 15-year career, 125 wickets in 103 matches, and she is the White Ferns all-time ODI wicket-taker. Like, Leah has been an outstanding player for New Zealand for a long period of time, but I was lucky enough to take the field with her in the Renegades, and she's also the ultimate teammate, genuinely cares about the people within her playing environment. And for a while there, she was the world's fastest bowler, bowling well over 120 kilometres, and she used to terrorise the Aussies when she was at full flight. So massive shout out to Leah and congratulations to you on your ODI career, because it was a pretty special one.
So many retirements and a few coming hot off the presses. We've just heard that Jess Jonathan has stepped down from the WBBL Brisbane Heat captaincy and stepped down as Queensland Fire as well, as the captain of Queensland Fire. Sad to see, but what a career she's had.
Yeah, I was a little bit shocked by this one, but yeah, her legacy at Queensland is like no other. She's had success with the Brisbane Heat. She's won a few titles there. She'll be looking to win a title for Queensland in the next couple of weeks, you would imagine. And she's just an all-time proven performer, like leading wicket-taker in the WBBL as well. But in a way, it probably makes a little bit of sense. Like, JJ is going down a similar path to AJW at the moment, where she's playing all over the world in all franchise comps. She's going over to play for Yorkshire this winter. So her time at Brisbane is going to be, not as much as it used to be. She probably won't be around all winter with her English commitments. So she's got a lot on her plate and a lot to juggle. And this is the new age women cricketer now that there's all these international franchise leagues to play in. So JJ features in pretty much all of those. Well, she does actually, in all those sort of competitions. So I think JJ will look back and she'll be really proud of her tenure as skipper at Queensland and the Brisbane Heat. But yeah, she's still only young and she's still got a lot of cricket ahead of her too.
I think that's the through line between Healy and AJW and now JJ. We're seeing that, when you step back as a captain or you retire from the international career, there's still so much you can do, whether it's in the media or still on the field around the globe. It's kind of wonderful to see, and what a time to be alive if you're a women's cricketer. That's it for today's episode of The Scoop, Molly. Thanks so much to Laura Jolly and Amanda-Jade Wellington for joining us, our producers Will and Josh, and the boys from Roland. Molly, I'm nervous because we've got one more episode to do. I don't want to leave just yet. I want to keep talking to you about cricket. It's been so lovely.
No, it is great. It's good fun. And yeah, what a big week we've had. The test match in Perth was awesome. Great to see that. The Aussies winning, 12-4, so winning pretty convincingly in the end. But now we're really excited for the Windies tour.
We will be back next week as the WNCL finals race wraps up and we start turning our attention to the T20 World Cup build-up. Thank you for being here, Molly.
No, thank you, Rana. Thanks for having me.
And thank you to all of you for listening. We'll be back next week.